Action in case that press line is AJ Cunningham, who returns to action at LFA 122 against Fred Freeman. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be talking with you. How are your holidays?
Uh, uh, Fantastic. Went down to Fayetteville and spent some time with my girl, and just caught up with the family. It was all right for sure.
Awesome, awesome. It's funny. I saw a post on your Instagram from October, and you went fishing, and you said that your cousin and Gregor to watch out because you're the best fisherman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Bryce, I saw where Bryce had posted a few months back about him catching some big fish, and Gregor Gillespie. That's like his theme, right? He's a fisherman. Actually went to go up in Michigan and caught some 30-pound salmon, some big old hens, and it was a trip, bro. We went up there for 2 days, and I mean, you could not not throw your line in there and catch a fish. It was unreal. They're up there breeding. They go up there to spawn and die, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool, man. That's cool. Before we talk about your upcoming fight, I wanted to talk about your 2021. So you made your highly anticipated LFA debut. However, you lost a unanimous decision. It's coming up on a year since that fight. What did you take away from that fight?
Man, without making too many excuses, I learned not to. One, I learned to check leg kicks and prepare for calf kicks in this game because it's coming up on all of us fighters. It's changing the game overall, and I learned not to get too caught up in it and not to underestimate anybody. Honestly, I really came into that fight thinking I was going to blow right past Javier, and props to him. He beat me, then beat another guy, and then ended up fighting for the LFA title and brought him to a decision. So much better than what I anticipated, and yeah, like I said, I took from that how to check a calf kick and not to underestimate anyone I ever fight again for sure.
That's interesting that that you brought up that you overestimated him. I don't think a lot of fighters actually like to admit that, because it's a thing of the sport, right?
Right, right.
Um, so you were supposed to fight Fred Freeman your next fight in August, but the bout was canceled. What happened?
So, little backstory on this. Like I said, I had underestimated the Javier Garcia kid, and during that fight, and we had no idea till like fucking 4 or 5 weeks later. The calf kicks I was talking about, I had actually broke my leg. I got X-rays on it and everything. And the fight, like I was limping for 4 or 5 weeks, and I'd never had broke a bone. So here I was. I'm like, I see all these UFC fighters dropping on calf kicks. I'm thinking it's nerve damage and I've just really messed something up and it'll eventually go away. And finally, my coach makes me go get it checked out. And, I'm thinking if it's broke, there's no way I'm walking on it. There's no way. Well, sure enough, it was broke. And so I called my manager, let him know. And he's like, okay, we can get you a fight, I guess, midsummer. The Fred Freeman opportunity came up. We both signed the bouts. We both agreed to it. And then he comes back like the week of the fight, I believe, and says that it wasn't enough time, that he needed more time to prepare. So it was like, whatever, I guess.
Damn. Yeah, and I remember you I think you made an Instagram story about your broken leg. That's so crazy to me that you were walking around on a broken leg and you had no idea.
Dude, yeah. And like I said, and people are like, well, how do you not know? It's like I said, I'd never broke a bone before in my life. So I didn't know that feeling. Right. I couldn't tell you the difference between a broke bone feeling or nerve damage. I just knew it kind of hurt when I walked, and I was like, whatever, you just got to tough it out. Yeah, I fought the entire third round like that in 4 minutes and 40 seconds of it on that broke leg in the second round. Yeah, yeah, it was tough for sure.
Yeah, you want to be a fucking fighter, right?
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir.
um, so then you took a fight outside of LFA against Jonathan Jackson. Did LFA just let you take that fight?
Yes sir. I guess there was some bad feelings about the Fred Freeman thing, right? Because they wanted me to come back and really knock the rust off. And when that fell through, they were like, "Damn, man, I'm sorry, we can't really find anybody." So my manager was like, "Hey, well, we have an opportunity fairly close to after that date. Can we take that?" They send in the matchup and all this, and the guy's cool with it. And so we go and we get that done. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to say it was just because they felt bad about their fight falling through.
Gotcha. Well, you get a win and you end your year on a win. How did you feel about that performance?
Man, honestly, it was not supposed to go 25 minutes. And in that fight too, honestly, I'd actually broke my arm. I'm coming off surgery from October, and my manager and my coach just had this conversation. Sometimes I'm a bit too much of a showman. Like I like to just fucking bang instead of doing what I'm better at, right? Which is probably wrestling and just submitting people. I've got this itch to get knockouts and knock people out, and I'm still sharpening those tools up to really finish fights early with. And that fight should have ended in the first or second, honestly, too. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. I mean, like I said, we fought an entire round and another minute with a shattered arm at that, a metal rod and 10 screws to replace that. But now it could have been better, but it could have been worse, I guess, too.
You said that you should probably go back to your basics of wrestling and submission, but you've fallen in love with knocking people out. What's that come from?
It came from I started off my pro career 4-0. 3 of those wins were submission, and my first loss, I couldn't take the guy down, and he just outstruck me. And so I promised myself, I was like, man, I'm not gonna get outstruck again. I'm gonna learn how to stand up and throw these things and knock people out. And so my next fight out after that loss, 4-1, I head kick a guy from Southpaw. He's an orthodox, sleep the guy, and I'm like, I'm in love. It was a minute 19 seconds in. And ever since then, I've just been chasing that same exact feeling. In some fights, I've got it. Some fights, not.
For sure. It's no, it makes sense. It does make sense. So your second fight in LFA, you're rebooked. You're finally rebooked against Fred. How do you like the matchup?
I love it. I can't. There's been opportunities come up. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share this, but I will anyways. They can yell at me if I'm not supposed to. I actually got a contract offer from PFL, and it's a mouth-watering, like more money than I've made in my past 4 or 5 fights combined. That's on the table, but they're pretty much saying I would have to stop the LFA contract and like hope I could get out of it to fight for these guys. I like this. I feel like if they want me at 8-2, then they'll want me at 9-2. And the way I look at Fred Freeman, we go back to this statement of underestimating your opponents, but I don't see in many ways Fred beating me. So I really like this matchup, and I really want to get this fight. And yeah, I think it's a very favorable matchup for me, sir.
I guess are you going in kind of? I'm not gonna say like going in angry, but are you or maybe like taking it personal that like your fight was canceled beforehand? But is that in the back of your mind?
In my mind, I feel like I already have one up on him because of that. You know what I mean? I feel like he said it wasn't enough time when in all reality, we got the phone call the same day, and I was ready to go and he wasn't. So yeah, I feel like I have that mental approach on him along with the physical attributes and the skill set too. So yeah, it's just going to make for a good day for me. I do believe.
You have a prediction for the fight?
Yes, I do actually. I've told people this, and hopefully drop this out a little later, like right before the fight comes out. But I think it's going to be head kick from Southpaw, head kick or a left straight from Southpaw. I really do. I've been really working on my Southpaw stance and really going the opposite stance of my opponent, and I think I'm gonna tee him up, piece him up, touch him a lot. And if that doesn't happen, then we will shoot. And I think it's going to be late first, early second will be the finish.
Awesome. That's man, looking forward to it. Do you think this is your reintroduction to the LFA audience?
Absolutely. I think it's a highlight finish. and that's why I'm so dead set on getting this fight and not signing that PFL contract. I think I can make a lot of noise with how I finish this guy. You know, get my finish percentage up. Right now, I'm 8-2 with I want to say 6 finishes. Yeah, 6 finishes, and 3 are knockout, 3 are submission. I think a good finish, preferably a knockout, would really help boost the stock. You know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I guess you kind of already talked about it, like the PFL, but like, is this your audition for PFL?
I don't know because this is my thing right there. I'm like, why can't I do both? And respectfully, you know, PFL don't want me fighting within 30 days of their schedule bout, and they wanted me to fight at the end of February. But here's the deal: I don't know what stops me from getting a ESPN top 10 knockout and then calling them up immediately after the fight and be like, hey, I'm healthy and I'm ready to go. You know, maybe that's offer still on the table. Regardless, we'd have to talk to LFA and see if they'll let me out of the contract or not. But at the same time, I'm perfectly fine with fighting for LFA and maybe even re-signing with them too. I've said this many, many times in pretty much any interview I have done, especially with all these injuries here the last year. I want to take the really slow approach to the UFC, you know, and if I gotta, you know, beat Fred Freeman, and then the next guy's just a little bit better than Fred, and that ladder, you know, just a little bit better than the next guy, I'm down with that. You know, you start going to PFL, UFC, Bellator right now. I don't know if I stay there very long. You know, just I got the heart and the mentality, but is the skill set there? If I'm being honest with everybody, I don't know. I don't think so. So I just want to sharpen my tools and go in there when the time's right. You know.
Yeah, I like that, and I like that. You're not afraid to say like take the slow route to the to the big promotions, because you're right. Some fighters take one fight in a smaller regional show, get to the UFC, fight 2-3 times, and they're out.
Cut, and then they're spend their whole life trying to prove themselves back to it. And one thing harder than getting to the UFC is getting back into it after you've been cut. And I've seen it firsthand with some friends and some fellow Arkansans, and it's tough, man. And I don't want to make that mistake. I'm 27, coming off a broke leg, broke arm. I got to see how these things hold up in battle. My leg was fine my last fight, but I just had surgery October 2nd. So you're talking November, December. I'm fighting in January. Complete surgery on this thing that was shattered in pieces. We got to see how it holds up, you know, and then we can make a decision, I guess, after a couple more fights with it.
For sure, for sure. Well, what do you want your 2022 to look like?
I want to have 3 fights and 3 finishes, 3 wins.
I like that. I like that. Well, and then like I guess when on that, your cousin Bryce is fighting Edson Barbosa, in just a fantastic fight. What do you think of that fight?
I think it's a mouth-watering matchup for Bryce Mitchell. Here's why, and this is, everyone can have their own breakdown on shit. But I think if you look at Edson's past, right, he has beat some grapplers, but no grapplers like a Bryce Mitchell. You look what Edson did to him. You look what Kevin Lee did to him. And people can say, well, those are 55ers. I've trained with many, many UFC fighters. I've trained with everybody in all types of weight classes. No one grapples like Bryce Mitchell. No one that I've ever grappled with. Nobody does, man. And I think Bryce, despite the size factor, besides the experience factor and the lack of striking, I think Bryce just mauls this guy. And I think he's a top 8, top 9 guy after, probably right around 9 after he beats Edson.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, AJ. I really appreciate it. And if you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Yeah, give me a follow at AJ the Savage Cunningham. Post content pretty regularly. I want to thank CNC. I want to thank Anfan and Matt Ward for sponsoring me this fight. I can't thank y'all enough. Sean Drake at Classic Collision Repair. And y'all tune in January 21st. I open up the main card for LFA, and I'm excited about it.